Inder?
Yes, ma'am, it is setting up.
Okay, okay.
Just one moment.
Now, Smara meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Yes. Yes, started. Sir, we may start.
Okay. A very good and warm morning to everyone. I welcome you all on behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Atmaram Sanatan Dharma College. I, on behalf of IQAC, welcome Professor R K Singh, Dean and Head of the Department of Commerce, University of Delhi. Sir, we are really honored to have you with us. We are glad that Professor Singh took out time for us, and it would be a pleasure to hear you speak. Professor R K Singh is presently Head and Dean, Department of Commerce, University of Delhi, an alumnus of Delhi School of Economics, and he has worked with the Sri Ram College of Commerce before joining the Commerce Department. His specialization is organizational behavior and human resource management. He has a number of national and international publications to his credit, published by the Springer, Emerald, etc., in the broad domain of managing human resources with focus on effectiveness and spirituality. He has been editor of Business Analyst, now on editorial board and reviewers panel of various journals. Professor Singh has more than 28 years of experience, not only in the field of teaching, but also corporate training, consultancy, and administration. He has held various positions of responsibility, including Deputy Dean, Academic Activities, Chairman, Governing Body of Bharati College, University of Delhi, etc. He is a member of numerous Board of Studies and Courses Committee of different universities. This recent initiative, Department College Interface, is giving momentum among academic circles. Once again, sir, I welcome you to this webinar.
Thank you so much.
Professor Singh is going to speak on the topic COVID-19 Managing Uncertainties. Before we start with this webinar, I would like to call upon our principal, Dr. Gyantosh Kumar Jha, to formally welcome Professor Singh.
Good morning to all. On behalf of ARSD College, I welcome my friend and colleague and my well-wisher, Professor Ritesh Kumar Singh, in this webinar and you all. It is a great pleasure for me and indeed an honor for me to welcome Professor Singh in this webinar. In fact, you all don't know that Professor Singh is not a scholar of commerce and management, but he is a poet and kissago also. So he has a versatile personality, and in fact, I am very happy that he is with us in this webinar, and he is going to talk about how to manage uncertainty in this COVID-19. So I am glad, and once again I welcome you all, and I welcome Professor Singh. Thank you so much for taking out your valuable time for our college and for this webinar. Thank you. And I want to congratulate my webinar team, committee members, especially Dr. Vinita Tuli, Dr. Baljeet, Anupriya, Ravinder, Dr. Anju Bajaj, Raghavendra Pandey, Manvendra. They have arranged this webinar for us, for everyone. Thank you so much to my team members. And once again, welcome Professor Singh. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Professor Singh.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Respected principal of Atmaram Sanatan Dharma College, Gyantosh Jha, Dr. Tuli, who is heading the IQAC of the college, the webinar organizing team, scholars joining us in this webinar from different parts of the country, academic and dear students. My compliments to the college, the skipper of the college, Dr. Jha, and his team, and a special thanks to two persuaders, Anupriya and Baljit, who made me to be with you today. I'm thankful to all of you who are with us on a very topical theme, COVID-19, how to look at uncertainties and how to manage it. Today is 40th day of lockdown. So roughly 6 weeks have gone in this lockdown. It is making us to experience a new world. Couple of phraseologies. One of them is lockdown, other is quarantine, the other social distancing, and many more. In last 6 weeks, it has become the part of our extended self. These words taken from a different language has been owned even by illiterates who doesn't know anything about English. Maybe this is one way of looking at that, how language gets mutated, how language finds adoption. The term which we are using these days, social distancing, roughly 100 years back, in 1925, a psychologist, Emory Bogadas, coined this term to be used in a different context to see how diversity finds its place and people from the different social background, how do they find acceptance in working in one setup, in one organizational setup. But now it is being used in entirely different way. This is the new avatar of social distancing. When I look at this COVID, I am reminded of what roughly 4.5 centuries ago, English writer William Shakespeare said that, what's in a name? This COVID-19, the abbreviation of coronavirus disease 2019, it comes from a combination of beautiful two words, novel and corona. That is why this virus is called as novel corona. Novel, which talks about something new, and corona, a Latin word which implies the crown. Crown in whatever context, if somebody is getting crowned, it is a matter of great celebration. But this protein spike crown of this virus is creating a lot of hazard. So the two beautiful words, the crown and new, when put together and becomes the novel corona, this name is very monstrous. Actually, corona disease and the coronavirus is not new. Corona is very old. And if we talk about the outbreak even, in 2003, there was the first outbreak of coronavirus in China. At that time, this disease was named as SARS, Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. After 19 years, again, there was a second outbreak of coronavirus disease. In 2012, it was in Saudi Arabia. And this time, the disease was named as MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. If we have already seen two outbreaks of this disease, what is causing so much worry to us? Maybe the first outbreak, the SARS, it has a known origin. That was wild civil cat. And the second outbreak, that has also a known origin. That is camels. But even after 6 months of COVID-19, we have not been able to trace that what is the origin of this disease. Is the anonymity, is the disguise of the origin of COVID-19 the cause of worry? Is this what worrying the scientists, that they have not been able to find out even after 6 months that how it originated? Initially, we were told that it started with the bat, but later on WHO went for refuting it and says that the origin is still not known. This COVID-19, which is making globe to go for lockdown, to maintain a restraint, to stay at home, not to come out. Is this causing worry? Is life without restaurants, without weekends, without partying, without outing, this life with withouts, is this the cause of worry? Or what in psychology we call as parasite avoidance behavior, preventing us from maintaining a contact with the infected person. Is that the cause of worry? Whatever is the cause of worry, it is spreading a lot of anxiety, creating high pressure conditions, giving horrifying experiences, and creating a lot of uncertainties. To me, as humans are trained to see things from known category, using the lens of available knowledge, what is there in our repertoire, and any new thing which is seen through that lens, if it is not fitting in the schema of what the knowledge has been acquired in the past, maybe that creates a lot of confusion. Maybe that creates a lot of anxiety and uncertainty. So there is a need to reflect that is the situation which is prevalent today is alarming, or available category of knowledge what we have is insufficient to analyze and synthesize the situation. I'm not going to give you any big gyan. My interaction with you is only based on my reflections of this situation. As a member of the working class, I used to have a desire that to take off from the work, to go for some time away from mundane routine work. But this given distancing from the work, which is in a way supporting what the deep desire used to be earlier, in last 40 days, after joy and the euphoria of the first few days, it has started causing more frustration. And this needs to be addressed. In this process of staying at home and to extend the span of knownness, we have been excessively seeking the information. And excessive seeking of the information and obsessive consuming of that information has resulted into burnout. Because many things about the situation, the root cause of the situation are unknown, uncertain. There is a tendency in the humans, rumination, that whenever we come across any disease, we always look at the ills of the disease and start thinking that will this disease catch me? I'm also finding the similar kind of the symptoms. So in the present COVID-19 times, the co-rumination is further adding to the problem. So there is a need to reflect that is this coronavirus pandemic is the cause of the anxiety, or our low risk literacy is the cause of the anxiety. I'm sharing with you the today's available approximated data to put forth my point. We have roughly 1.37 billion population, and till morning today, whatever the source was available to me on net, we have active 33,050 cases, out of which 8,325 cases are cured. And out of total cases, 1,074 deaths have been reported till morning. So this 33,050, it comes to 0.002% of the total population. 1,074 deaths, that amounts to 0.00078% of the population. If we talk about the rate of cure of infected people, it is approximately 25%. On the similar lines, you can see the world data. If mortality rate is so low and rate of curing is so high and percentage of infected people is meager, then what is causing the worry? Time and again, organizations after organizations, governmental agencies, international agencies have been focusing that this disease is deadly if it is combined with some other diseases in the infected persons. Therefore, there is a need to revisit the available information and to see that the anxiety, worry, the uncertainty, how it could be seen using a different lens. Perhaps we are seeking yesterday, adhering to pre-pandemic period, which is the cause of disappointment, anxiety, and depression. I will take 3 cases to take my argument further. Work from home. Majority of us are working from home in our own way. This home working has been in the agenda, in the working agenda of big organizations. And psychologists, management practitioners, theoreticians, they have been talking about work-life balance. They have been talking about flexi hours. They have been talking about one of the solutions for achieving work-life balance as home working, work from home. Organizations used to take pride that they used to give forced leave. They used to make their employees to stay at home forcibly to work from home. But if this work from home in present times has been mandated in this pandemic period across the globe, making us to revisit work-life balance issue, this new normal, why are we anxious? New terms like virtual private network, VPN, Zoom, Microsoft Team, House Party, Google Meet are the terms which were unknown to us a couple of weeks back. But appreciating our adaptability, that in the last 3-4 weeks, we have been able to find out a new meaning which was hidden in us. And we have adopted these platforms and thinking about how to take it forward. The way some of you have asked that, what is the scope of new business? The way we are bringing office to our homes in present pandemic times, maybe in times to come, a new kind of home architecture would emerge, where office place in your home would be mandatory for you to get an offer of a job. Maybe the government agencies, they will make a place for office in the home mandatory while looking at the architecture of your house. Maybe for teachers in this country who are having their one of the basic eligibility as net examination, qualifying the net examination mandatory to enter into academics. Maybe some examination qualifying, certifying you that you can use VPN would be mandated in times to come. So to me, it appears that we are redefining and redesigning our home-work relationship, which is opening up a new vista. And if it comes into reality on a lighter note, the males would be subjected to work under two bosses, the wife and Wi-Fi. There are some problems associated with working from home. And if these problems are addressed, referred, then what the claims we were making in our yesterday time, that to strike work-life balance, we should be made to stay at home and work from home, that reality was not true. So this present times has created another dialectics. And what Adam Grant, a psychologist from US, says that we should not talk about work-life balance. We should talk about work-life rhythm. So there is a need to revisit the concept of work-life balance and find out that how the rhythmic pace between the two could be reached, achieved. Easy accessibility of electronic media and means of acquisition of information made me to watch thousands of the workers assembling at Mumbai Central, demonstration by migrants in Surat city, flocking of migrant labor at Anand Vihar, and in other different parts of the country, giving us rise to think, giving a rise to a new meaning of the word home. These laborers, couple of years back or months back, in search of better living, which was not available at their native place in their villages, they left that place and moved to cities. But this COVID period has made them to go back to their home, which they deserted a couple of years back. एक बेहतर जिंदगी की तलाश में वो गांव से शहर आए थे और इस मुश्किल के दौर में आज उन्हें याद अपना वो गांव, अपना घर आ रहा है। एक सो कॉल्ड बेहतर जिंदगी को छोड़ के कमतर जिंदगी की तरफ उनका जाना, this is giving a rise to understand what is the meaning of home in present times. They were frustrated when they were there at home. But in difficult times of today, they find their investment in relationship, there in village, in their home, that would be able to hold them in this difficult time, not the town, the city, the metros, where they came in search of something good. I recall a couple of years back, once I come from a farmer's family. Once I was talking to my father. So he said that these days the farming has become very difficult because of the migration of the labor. And laborers in search of something so-called good living, they leave villages and they prefer working in factories, though for arduous hours. Maybe his statement will get negated in the post-corona period, and a new socio-economic texture will emerge, where cities will have a shortage of labor. and the villages will have abundance of the supply. This again opens a new vista, creates one opportunity, at the same time creates a challenge. That abundance of supply, how we are going to address in times to come. Some of your questions are coming from the economic situation in post-corona period. I will narrate a very recent story of China. As things got settled, so labor who had gone to their villages in COVID-19 period, they started coming back to cities. But there they found a very strange situation. That factory owners, they were not letting them to work in their factories because Chinese economy largely depends on exports. And in present times where the exports have been stopped, marginalized, then the factories are not having new orders. And in big way, the retrenchment and the laying off is going on in China. And at public transport places, China is finding laborers going back to their villages, their homes, for completely getting settled there and uprooting themselves from the cities. So a new kind of economics is emerging in this period. It has its pluses and it has its minuses. And what we have been talking about, the smart cities, it is high time in order to make a new India, to create smart villages, to let small and medium enterprises in big way getting open in villages to accommodate this reversal of migration of labor and create an anchorage to this labor, that what city where they went to find out a better living, that was not able to hold them for a couple of weeks in difficult times. Second issue is virtual relationship. Up till few days back, technology pessimists and techno optimists were raising eyebrows on virtual relationship. Talking about that, the virtual relationship, which is replacing the actual relationship, is very detrimental. And the machines are replacing humans. But you think about a situation, the present lockdown. A lockdown without internet, a lockdown without TV, without laptop, without smartphones, without smart gadgets, maybe this lockdown, without these electronic gadgets, the platforms to create the virtual relationship, it would have given us experience close to prison, getting locked up. So therefore, there is need to appreciate that the vices of one get converted into virtues in other situations. And maybe a new socio-virtual reality is emerging, where working effectively from a distance is made more possible, more feasible, as it has been tested in the present difficult times. Third issue, the technology which has made a lot of progress, there the business model which we call as networked business model, which went for spreading its wings and creating a very challenging and threatening situation for local retailers, offline retailers. But in these difficult times, the online network model of business has miserably failed, got hampered. And those who are, they are not able to make supplies in time, barring very few. And techno-friendly marketeers who were visualizing that in times to come, the shopping would be concentrated either through malls, the hypermarkets, or online vendors. Their thinking has been challenged. Because in present times, the offline vendors, the local retailers, the rediwalas, they have come to our rescue. Therefore, there is a need to revisit homework relationship, virtual real relationship, offline online relationship, city village relationship, and maybe to accept that these are the realities which are made to coexist. When I reflect the experiences, I see the experiences of present times. Am I worried about the restrictions imposed on commuting? Or I'm worried about my luxury needs not getting fulfilled? Or I'm not able to address the luxury and utility dialectics? There is a need to revisit. To whatever limited number of friends I have spoken during this period, I find majority of them are able to prepare the dishes of their choice, what they used to like, without going to restaurants. Are able to get their inner desires fulfilled without having accessibility of markets. And in present times, when we are made to stay at home, which is giving opportunity for environment getting bettered, ozone layer getting repaired, giving freedom to birds to chirp, Yamuna to have sparkling water, introverts, there are researches that introverts in the present times, they are able to speak up more as compared to extroverts. This present time is making us to enjoy the sound of silence. It is the present times that in this webinar, in otherwise situation, the hundreds, those who are joining this webinar from different parts of country, they would have been made to come to one place, and one individual would have reached there, or few individuals would have reached there to have the interaction. But it is the present time which is making the hundreds to stay at their place, and one individual or individuals transcending the space, time, and geography, reaching to few hundreds, creating a new meaning of efficiency. Why not in present times, the joy of missing out is taking over the fear of missing out. JOMO taking over FOMO. This fear of unknown, this creates a narrow vision, not letting us to look at a bigger picture. And here I will narrate a story of Buddha. Gyantosh ji was talking about that I narrate stories. Once a disciple of Buddha asked that, Master, if I'm hit by an arrow, what will happen? So Buddha said, no, hold on. Let me ask this question to you. That if you are hit by an arrow, what will happen? So disciple said that, I will feel pain. So Buddha said that if you are hit by second arrow, then what will happen? So he said that I will have addition in the pain. So Buddha said that if you will be hit by the third arrow, what will happen? So disciple said that, Master, I will have further addition there in the pain. And every arrow will keep on adding something to the pain. Buddha said it means after first arrow, all rest arrows are creating the similar kind of experience in varying degree. This is cause of misery. It was not clear to disciple. And Buddha said that when you were hit by the first arrow and you felt the pain, knowing that every subsequent hitting of the arrow will cause the pain, in this whole process of feeling the pain, where are you? In the present context, the first arrow is novel coronavirus, which has hit the humanity, causing pain. But the subsequent arrows coming from fear, coming from anxiety, coming from frustration, coming from depression, we can have a control over these. On first arrow, we may not have any control. But on subsequent arrows, we have a control, because the subsequent arrows are causing more psychological, emotional, and mental pain. The first arrow is coming from the natural world, but the subsequent arrows are coming from the psychological world. And as a human being, it becomes our utmost responsibility to address this psychological world which has been created by us, which has our manifestation. There is a need to build the skills to observe the movement of thoughts, to build the resilience, and what is the known category of knowledge coming from the past, the memories of the past, which is in the future, and the dreams of the memories of past, which is in the present, and the dreams of future, which is in the present. For both, the point of intersection is the present. So there is a need to live in the present and think and reflect that how to address the fears, anxieties, or how to address the miseries which is coming from the second world, the second arrow and third arrow, and the psychological world. And in this process, if we are little stressed, that stress must be respected, because that stress gives us opportunity to take us to next level of peace, tranquility, to take us to the new equilibrium where we find the new meaning. But what a psychologist, Braham, says that it is a free choice paradigm, that whatever we choose, we try to prove the superiority of our choices over whatever we have not chosen. So there is a need to reflect and work on this. In the present times, thanking God, I find myself fortunate enough to witness this. Because this experience is very humbling. It is making us to go close to spirituality. It is giving a jolt to my egocentricity. And it is help breaking an intellectual debate that will technology take over the humanity? Will technology take over the mankind? People who were working in the domain of the technology and human interaction, like Shubhana Zubaff, Alec Ross, Bryn Jolson, Mackey, who were talking about that in times to come, the machines will regulate and run everything. But this present Corona time has made us to realize कि हमारे सामर्थ्य की एक सीमा होती है. Long back I read a novel by Bhagavati Charan Verma. The title of the novel was Sabahi Nachawat Ram Gusain, to make us understand that whatever technological progress we have done, we have not been able to win, control nature. And this present model of development, which has been very anthropocenic, based on human desires, all development are hovering around human fulfillment of human desires, human needs. This time of Corona time has made us realize that our developments are very dwarfish, and the design of the nature is any day, any time, is superior to the desire of mankind. And this experience to me comes as big lifetime disclaimer that whatever works, whatever achievement, whatever so-called growth and development, whatever advancement I have made, we have made, humanity has made, that works only when conditions are normal. And in abnormal situation like this, the powerful of most powerfuls like US, Germany, Britain, Italy, they have been able to kneel down. And for development of individual, Abraham Maslow says that three things are required. One, what has been created by an individual. Second, what is given to an individual. And third, what has been discovered by the individual. So it is time to make self-discovery. What part of the self which has not been discovered in the past, it is time to revisit and discover. In a very good book, Happiness Hypothesis, which I read during this lockdown period, the author Jonathan Haidt says that we are appearing to be sitting on the elephant. And the elephant, an animal, wants to move in one direction, go on by his own desires. But we, the rider on the elephant, we have to decide that where elephant has to move. But over a period of time, we have let the elephant to take us wherever the elephant wants to take us. And in the whole process, the self of ours was lost. This novel Corona has given us opportunity to prove ourselves that we are good riders who will control the elephant, not being controlled by the elephant. The senescence, the aging diseases in present times have got new energy to check further degeneration, rather to get rejuvenated. And this experience of today must help us to become a better human being tomorrow. The tomorrow's grounding should be done on the basis of the experience of today, as adulthood is made on the foundations of the childhood. Therefore, this experience we should not let go waste. And what the a priori model of life, given model of life, which comes from the Bayesian terminology, this given model, a priori model of life, this must be revisited in the light of new generated data to create a revised model of life, which would be better, which would be more accommodating, which would be more inclusive. And often it is said that whatever the progresses, the technological progresses we have made in present times, it was a fiction in yesterday's movies. This is giving rise that fantasy has possibility of creating a reality, breeding a reality. And I refer a poetry by one of the shayars who has gone for seeing time in a new way. It is very fantasized. I'm sharing with you. The title of the poem is "Ye Waqt Kya Hai." जावेद साहब की ये पोएट्री है, ये वक्त क्या है, ये क्या है आखिर जो मुसलसल गुजर रहा है, जब न गुजरा था तो कहां था, कहीं तो होगा, गुजर गया है तो अब कहां है, कहीं तो होगा, कहां से आया, किधर गया है, ये कब से कब तक का सिलसिला है, ये वक्त क्या है। कभी कभी मैं ये सोचता हूं कि चलती गाड़ी से पेड़ देखो तो ऐसा लगता है कि दूसरी सिमत जा रहे हैं, मगर हकीकत में पेड़ अपनी जगह खड़े हैं। तो क्या ये मुमकिन है कि सारी सदियां कतार अंदर कतार अपनी जगह खड़ी हों, ये वक्त साकित हो और हम ही गुजर रहे हों। इस एक लम्हे में सारे लम्हे, सारी सदियां छुपी हुई हों, न कोई आइंदा न गुज़िश्ता। जो हो चुका है वो हो रहा है, जो होने वाला है हो रहा है। मैं सोचता हूं कि क्या ये मुमकिन है कि सच ये है कि सफर में हम हैं, गुजरते हम हैं, जिसे समझते हैं हम गुजरता है वो थमा है, गुजरता है या थमा हुआ है, इकाई है या बटा हुआ है मुजलमत या पिघल रहा है, किसे खबर है, किसे पता है, ये वक्त क्या है। So what the notion of time we are having in our life, the linear notion of time, which is spread over past, present, and future, this needs to be revised. This notion needs to be revised with another philosophy of time. The time is circular, never ending, no beginning, no end. And in order to understand that, it is worth referring Abraham Maslow, who writes in his book, that book also I read during this period, Toward a Psychology of Being, that there is a need to have B cognition. He talks about B cognition and D cognition. He says that we need to have be cognition, being cognition. And decognition is deficient cognition. He says that if we are having the be cognition, we are able to interact with the environment. We are able to look at self-actualization, self-fulfillment, look at nirvana, and we are taking the witness of achievement. Contrarily, when we are referring to decognition, we are taking the witness of absence. That is the becoming. So there is a need to be, not to become. If we are becoming, we are more governed by the situation. We are more governed by the elephant. And if we are being, we are more acting as a rider. And now I will come to an end, quoting a poetry of Khalil Gibran. He says that when you crush the apple with your teeth, say to it in your heart, your seed shall live in my body. Buds of your tomorrow shall blossom in my heart, and your fragrance shall be my breath, and together we shall live joyous through all the seasons. I'm thankful to every one of you for giving this opportunity to share my vague ideas with you, that how to look at, how to reflect the present times, which is full of uncertainties. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for this enlightening and informative session. All of us will be able to make most of your session and put all your suggestions into practice. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. And I also thank Professor Harminder Dhanda, department, who is with us throughout the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Anupriya, will you take questions or?
Sir, we have messaged you some questions.
Yeah.
What's it?
There were three types of questions coming, Anupriya. One related to economy, other related to education, and third talking about how to cope with.
Yes, sir.
About economy, though I'll not be going into details, I'll be speaking on the economic aspect of this crisis on 5th of May, when I'll be addressing the gathering at an international conference, which is being organized by Keith Bhubaneswar. But just to refer that, though the world economy is shattered and this lockdown not making us to go to workplace, not making factories to get open, this will certainly create a very bad economic conditions. But at the same time, it will give rise to lot many economic opportunities which are to be tapped. And the entrepreneurial mind will, I'm sure, would be able to address it. And one of the examples is Zomato, which used to supply meals in the present crisis time, has moved to become a supplier of groceries. So whatever is available to Zomato, a bit investment in thinking is making them survive in present times. So similarly, though there would be loss, but with some innovation, we would be able to make it up. Of course, this will take some time. The second issue came, the second category of the questions are coming from education, where the students have asked that what will happen to exams. The teachers, they are anxious to know that will this online be replacing offline? People are showing their concerns, anxieties about career. As things are very fluid, therefore, nothing could be said with certainty. I'm sharing my peace of mind that we are basically trained up till now to have a place teaching. The present times, which is making us to move from place teaching, which is practically not possible to go for online teaching. But with the present regimen, the place teaching cannot be replaced with the online teaching. Because this online teaching, it has an entirely new schema, new regimen. Therefore, until and unless whatever is required, whatever the ingredients are there for that online teaching, if those things are not embedded in our present system, I see a bleak possibility of place learning getting replaced with online learning. Because the kind of engagements which this online teaching needs to be created for students, the kind of quizzes, the kind of questions which are making us to test the cognitive ability of the students, if we will not invest in that, we are using it just as time requires, as we are not able to go to that. So therefore, in present times, I don't see that it would be completely replacing. But of course, we have been able to, I talk about myself, I have never used Google Meet before. I have never used Zoom before. It is making me to understand that where I am placed, but it's a full course, it's a full regimen. If it is not brought in, we will not be able to make a departure. For examination, as far as Delhi University is concerned, the decision has not been taken. There are both views that there should be online examination or offline examination. So how examination would be done, only as the time unfolds, maybe by next week, university would be able to take some decision. About the career, there is nothing to worry. Because it is not like this, that in one part of the world, things are moving at faster pace, and in another part of the world, things are moving at the slower pace. यहाँ तो सभी लोग एक ही घोड़ा गाड़ी में बैठे हुए हैं, कोई ट्रेन में और हवाई जहाज में नहीं बैठा हुआ है. So the career what we are looking there in the organizations, they are also facing the problems which the education sector is facing. So I think that you will not have any kind of marginalization as far as the career is concerned. Maybe the new kind of avenues will emerge. About coping with the present times, I think this word coping should be replaced with the accepting the present times. The more and more we talk about the coping with the present times, the more and more we talk about accommodating the present times, the more and more we are putting ourselves on the receiving end, but there is a need to bring ourselves on the giving end and accepting this reality the way it is happening. Acceptance of this reality, that will give us more power, more courage, more strength to take us to the next level of learning, next level of equilibrium, where the life would be better. That is all from my side, Anupriya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful lecture.
Thank you so much, Anupriya. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Gantoshji.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Ritesh,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
थैंक यू रितेश जी,
शुक्रिया, शुक्रिया, धन्यवाद.
बहुत अच्छा लगा आपको सुन करके.
Sir.
और मैंने गलत नहीं कहा था, आप कवि, किस्सा गो और पता नहीं क्या क्या है, तो सारी झलक आपके व्याख्यान में दिखाई दी. थैंक यू सो मच.
शुक्रिया, thank you, thanks so much.
वी आर ऑनर्ड,
Thank
वी
you.
आर ऑनर्ड.
Thank you, thanks for giving this.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you, sir.
Ravinder,
हाँ जी बोलिए.
आप over कर दो meeting. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Ravi.